What's up, everybody? How's it going? And welcome to this episode of the Car Rant Podcast. I am currently filming at 3:19 in the morning, so if I don't look tired at all, be not surprised. I have that wonderful thing known as seasonal insomnia. And with that, we're going to get right into the video. After I open up a soda that has caffeine in it to also help with the fact that I'm not tired at all right now, which is really sad. So today on this episode of the Car Rant Podcast, we are going to be talking about a topic that really doesn't have a lot of weight, no pun intended, in the performance of your car, but more of how you as a driver feel while driving. Today we're talking about a lovely thing known to the rest of the world, if I can pick it up, as shift knobs. Part of the reason why we're talking about shift knobs and shifting and things of that nature is because today we actually have a sponsor for this episode called Goog Racing. They're an aftermarket car parts company that makes predominantly shifters and shifter components, but have a number of other items as well on their website. They have graciously offered us a coupon code, so if you're interested in buying a shift knob, which we're actually going to show you one of them here today, check it out. Their shift knobs are actually really nice. We have two of them. One of them is going into Ishmael's 240. The other one we're actually going to put inside of Ian's car, since it is part of our little JDM fleet. And we actually have some very exciting news in regards to his car coming soon, so definitely stay tuned for that. But yeah, definitely check them out. Our code is CARRANT15, all one word. Links to their website are down below in the description section, so if you're interested, please do check them out. We appreciate all the help that we can get because it helps pay for things like what's coming next on the channel. Moving on, shift knobs. Why are they important? What do they do? What do they help you do? So shifter moving through gears and whatnot, it obviously is a lever system. When you're moving, say, your shifter from neutral into first, you're twisting your lever this way and then sliding it forward, so that on the opposite side a mechanism moves into place using the synchronizers, the synchros, so that you now engage first gear, which is always opposite to where you are because that's how levers work. Yeah, visit your physical science textbook from probably 8th or 9th grade. But with that said, a lever has to have a force or weight behind it to move it into a different position. That's how levers work. Otherwise, whatever weight outweighs that weight will be what holds. Case in point, when you're 5 years old on the seesaw and the neighborhood bully comes over and just sits down real hard or stomps on the seesaw and launches you into the air. Clearly, he has more mass, he has more force, allowing you on the opposite side to come out into the wonderful air out of your seat and hopefully not smash your tail end on the ground, because that would suck. But what does this have to do with shifting and shift knobs? What it does have to do with is some of my own personal experiences within my Lexus. This is actually the stock Lexus shift knob. It's a little on the small side for my taste. I like a slightly bigger knob, but I'm actually going to be getting a bigger knob from GUG Racing because I kind of really like what I see right now. Things are really flipping clean. But I call them GUG because I don't know how to say their name. If it's Goog or, yeah, Goog, I don't know. What I do know, they're cool people because they decided to sponsor us. This shift knob weighs very little. And when you're shifting in the gears, you feel a lot of vibration, you feel a lot of the road, which for some people is really good. In some cars, it's very beneficial to have this. For me, it's not, because once I put the car into first gear, it just sits there and bobbles around like crazy. It's flailing like a frantic mom in Black Friday shopping. It's not a good time when you're trying to drive. So it's one of those weird gimmicky things to me to have a lightweight shift knob. I feel like it's part of the bygone era. I feel like more people are going to the heavyweight shift knobs, which is why I wanted to make this podcast to help convince the rest of those people out there, like, hey, you should really check this out. There's only a handful of cases, like I want to say it's EP2 Honda Civic, where it's the shifter's up high, so having a lightweight shift knob is kind of nice because it's not down low. It's just the positioning feels better to have a lightweight one. Opinions are opinions. Moving on. What I personally noticed when I started to drive a lot more in the Lexus is that this guy doesn't have the weight to kind of reduce some of that jittering and movement that my W55 transmission has. I've noticed that the KA's transmission in a Nissan 240 also has a similar issue. And for some people, they just like, oh, it's just a normal thing. Yeah, but then I get inside of the Evo, and when you put it in gear, it's in gear. It doesn't move. There's not even enough, there's no little jitters, anything. It's very almost gated without it being a built transmission. So with that said, being in a car like the one that I have and having all this jittery motion just doesn't feel good. And that's one of the byproducts of a lightweight shift knob, is that it kind of just feels light and floaty and not very consistent or tight like you'd want it to be. Enter the heavyweight shift knob. This is almost identical in size. It's just a fraction of a bit larger. This guy is hefty. I could drop this on the floor and I would crack the floor. This is also one of Goog Racing's very, very nice textured, I would like to call it a textured knob, because you can hear that. It's very, very much grooved. You can kind of see it on camera. Let's see if I can focus it. You can see all of the grooves. You can see all the detail. That just allows it so that when you're holding it, there's no slip. Even if your hands or palms get real sweaty, you're not going to be letting this go because it's just gripping your skin because of your natural fingerprinting and things like that. A knob like this is really handy, but also it weighs a ton. So when you're out there driving, you can almost throw the ball shifter into gear. When I'm driving my Lexus and I have the weighted shift knob that's in there right now, like I said, getting one from Goog Racing, that'll be an unboxing we'll do in the future. When I put it in gear, it keeps it there. There is none of this weird sensation of like it almost feels like it wants to pop back out because there's no weight to maintain it where it's at. Because like I said, a shifter is essentially a lever. It's moving something in conjunction with other simple machines inside of the transmission housing case itself. So when you think about it, having the extra weight actually helps keep things in place. It's simple physics. It's simple science and mathematics saying like, hey, a heavier mass is helping maintain this object in this position because there's no additional mass to counter it somewhere else. That said, heavy shift knobs, really, really handy. And also, with the heavier shift knobs, it's just a better feeling because oftentimes they're a bit bigger than your standard shifter. This guy is tiny. A ping pong ball is almost the same size as this. This, on the other hand, while stature-wise is very similar, they're very different sizes over here. This guy is considerably wider and it's better suited for my palms. That said, personally, I like a slightly larger one. That's just me. And with the larger ones, obviously it equals more weight, more mass, even heavier shift knobs, I'm sorry. What does this all have to do with it? It helps with your transmission. One thing that happened with me with the Lexus not too long ago, and why I definitely switched off of this thing, because this is super light. This, if I had a simple scale, this would just sit like this. This is considerably heavier. Probably a good pound, maybe 2 pounds at most. I could be wrong. Goog Racing, correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, it's a considerably heavier ball compared to the very, very lightweight, maybe 6 ounces at this weighs. While driving, I actually had the car. I went to put it in gear, thought I was in the gear, and it actually fell out of gear into neutral. Now, you might say, oh, well, your synchros failed, whatever. Synchros are still there. They're still fine. It goes into first gear without any issues, unless you're too high in the RPM and second trying to shift down for a light or whatever. First gear lockouts are a thing. Google it. It's a very interesting topic that we might do someday. But I thought I had it in gear and it let go and came back out. When I switched over to the heavier knob, put it in gear, and what was also quite interesting, obviously it stayed there because that was the whole point of me saying that, but it also reduced the amount of vibrations that you feel while driving, and it reduced how much this thing actually moved around while it was in the gear. It more or less helps settle the transmission in more and not let it feel so open and empty, which for anyone driving a W series transmission from Toyota watching this, it's probably very helpful for you because of how those things feel kind of floaty and empty. You guys who have these transmissions probably know what I'm talking about. It just doesn't feel as concise as, say, a really, really tightly put together transmission like the Evo Trans, or maybe even the, I don't remember what model it is, I want to say it's the 05 to 06 WRX and STI transmissions, where it's real concise and tight and not known for having a number of issues. With all that said, heavyweight shift knobs, probably the best idea you can have for a driver feel at least. It doesn't necessarily give you performance advantages, but it definitely gives you a better experience as a driver while driving your car. Now, if you drive an automatic, do these things matter to you? No, because you have a computer doing all the work for you. We're not trying to hate on autos here, even though we kind of are right now because of the topic at hand and whatnot. But for us die-hard Luddites of technology and cars, where we don't like computers deciding anything for us except for, say, fuel and engine timing, this is the way of life for us. With that said, I want to know what you guys think. Leave down in the comment section below, what is your preference? We would love to know. And what do you guys think of these shift knobs? I mean, this is just one example. I mean, there's plenty of other great shift knobs, and we'll show you the one that we got for Ishmael's car here in an episode pretty soon, because we're actually going to be visiting that car to do some things with, because we haven't really been able to film stuff because it's been so cold and the weather's been bad and people have been sick. It's going to be good to get back in the saddle and start doing videos again, especially coming up soon. Cars and Cigars has one more show that they decided to do. It's right before Christmas, and we're real excited. We're hoping to have the Evo in time for that. So yeah, some stuff to look forward to on the channel. What do you think of that? Thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Please do consider checking out our sponsor's webpage, gugracing.com. It would really help us out. God bless you guys, and we'll see you next time. Peace.